When the B-21 Raider is ready to join the fleet, the new bomber will play a key role in U.S. strategy, as 2 of America's 3 strategic bombers are scheduled to be retired. The B-21 Raider is making good progress through its flight tests, according to Northrop Grumman, the manufacturer of the new bomber. Tom Jones, president of Northrop's Aeronautics Division, gave attendees at the AFA Warfighting Symposium on March 5 the first update on the B-21 in months, saying he was very pleased with the way testing has been going and that flight tests are being conducted at least twice a week. B-21's slow progress toward readiness. The upcoming B-21 Raider 6th generation bomber has been undergoing flight tests for about a year. The program is still highly classified, so Jones's update is a rare glimpse into the mysterious bomber. Jones said, according to Air and Space Force magazine, that the B-21's progress has exceeded expectations, and we're seeing good margins in its performance. He also said there has been only one software change to the B-21 in its first year. Jones attributes the program's early success to a rigorous series of ground tests and over 1,000 flight hours on a test bed that evaluated the B-21's internal systems, including hardware, software, navigation, communication suite. A test bed is an aircraft that has been modified to test new aircraft systems. In the case of the B-21, an existing non-B-21 aircraft is modified to carry and test new systems that will eventually be included on the B-21. The combination of ground testing and test bed testing has streamlined the B-21 testing process by reducing about 50% in the time it takes to certify software builds, which is pretty phenomenal, Jones said. When will the B-21 be ready? Jones was asked whether Northrop would be able to speed up production of the B-21, or end up building more units than originally expected. The U.S. Air Force is expected to buy about 100 B-21s. Jones did not provide a definitive answer, saying, ultimately, it's up to the government to determine what the right number of bombers is. He added, my responsibility is to make sure that the Air Force has options to help you make that decision. When the B-21 Raider is ready to join the fleet, the new bomber will take on a critical role in U.S. strategy, as 2 of America's 3 strategic bombers are scheduled to retire. Both the B-1 Lancer and the B-2 Spirit are currently slated for retirement, in part to make way for the B-21. And with the B-2 retired, the B-21 will be the only stealth bomber in the U.S. inventory, and perhaps any other country's inventory. The B-21 will then join the B-52 Stratofortress in the U.S. strategic bomber inventory, offering a worthy counterpoint. The B-52 first flew in the 1950s and is one of the U.S. military's longest-serving aircraft, having joined the force long before either the B-1 or the B-2. The B-21, meanwhile, will be brand new and loaded with new technology, offering a sophisticated and modern opponent for the 8-engine B-52. The pair will give the U.S. a full spectrum of strategic options, including everything from conventional weapons delivery to nuclear. By the mid-2030s, when the Air Force expects to receive its 100th B-21 Raider, there may be cutting-edge technology that will provide a competitive advantage over peer adversaries. The B-21 Raider, the U.S. Air Force's next-generation strategic stealth bomber, is making progress. Northrop Grumman, the maker of the 6th-generation bomber, is currently producing the first aircraft. The company recently received its second low-rate production contract from the Air Force. But now, the question of how many B-21 Raiders the Air Force needs is back in the air. How many B-21 Raiders? During a January 30th earnings call, Northrop Grumman President and Chief Executive Kathy Warden said the company received its second low-rate initial production contract and expects to accelerate the pace of production for the B-21 Raider. We are working with the government to restructure, but in the meantime, we are executing and meeting key milestones on the EMD contract, Warden added. The administration has said they project the restructuring will take 18 to 24 months, and we're still in that time frame, although they have paused work on some of the small infrastructure efforts in the command and launch segment, Warden added. As for numbers, there appears to be disagreement over how many stealth strategic bombers the Air Force wants to acquire. When the Air Force first envisioned the B-21 Raider, it stated a capability requirement of 80 to 100 strategic bombers. Since then, there has been ongoing discussion about how many aircraft the Air Force actually needs. Some have argued for a fleet as large as 200 aircraft. Most recently, Air Force Chief of Staff General David W. Alvin publicly said that by the time Northrop Grumman delivers its 100th aircraft, new technologies may be available that will force the Air Force to pursue other projects. I don't think we'll get to that number until the mid-2030s and beyond, the Air Force's Chief of Staff said. I think there are other technological advances that we can look at to be able to add to it and have a better mix, before we commit to it as a platform that will serve as the backbone of the future bomber force. Beyond that, big technological changes. To be sure, technology is advancing rapidly and continues to accelerate. By the mid-2030s, when the Air Force expects to receive its 100th B-21 Raider, there may be advanced technologies that will offer a competitive advantage over peer adversaries. But today, modern weapons systems are built in a modular way that envisions and allows for such modifications later on without having to completely overhaul the aircraft or acquire another model. So while General Alvin's remarks indicate operational concerns within the Air Force, they may also be a negotiating ploy by Northrop Grumman to force the company to lower its price per aircraft. That argument gained further credence after former Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall indicated that the Air Force was looking for a more affordable way to build the B-21 Raider fleet. The B-21 Raider is one of the most important future capabilities in the entire U.S. military. Getting it right is a matter of national security. Many U.S. military programs are years behind schedule, but one is running almost like clockwork, at least by procurement standards. In 2019, U.S. Air Force officials suggested the Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider would make its maiden flight by the end of the year. But it wasn't until December 2022 that the Flying Wing, designed to replace the aging Rockwell B-1B Lancer and Northrop B-2 Spirit, received its official rollout. However, since its public unveiling 2 years ago, the program has made significant progress, including making its maiden flight just 11 months after its official unveiling to the world. Aerospace giant Northrop Grumman recently announced that flight testing has continued through 2024. The Raider is now set to enter service in 2026 or 2027. The B-21 Raider made significant progress in our flight test campaign this year, continuing to demonstrate the value of our digital technologies and the power of the world's first sixth-generation aircraft, Northrop Grumman said in a statement. The airline noted its close collaboration with the U.S. Air Force, saying, "We extend our gratitude to the United States Air Force for their partnership in making the B-21 a reality." Flight test goes well. There are also reports that the flight test went as expected, and according to the defense contractor, the B-21 performed well. Overall, I was pleased with the performance of our test jet. The handling qualities were better than expected from the simulation environment, validating the accuracy of the digital models the team has developed and analyzed over the years. Chris Moss, a Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider test pilot, said in a September interview. "Flight testing is an exciting time, and we are making great progress on the B-21, added Tom Jones, Corporate Vice President and President of Northrop Grumman Aeronautics Systems, in the same report. The CTF team has demonstrated that we can execute multiple flight test events in the span of a week. Northrop Grumman's digital ecosystem enables this progress, allowing us to analyze test data, make updates, and return to flight test quickly and efficiently. From prototype to production. As of early 2024, 6 B-21 Raider prototypes are in various stages of production. That approach allows engineers and technicians to troubleshoot problems and apply lessons learned directly to the next aircraft. In addition to building an advanced bomber, Air Force officials have emphasized their focus on controlling costs while providing maximum flexibility. Honoring the Doolittle Raiders. The B-21 Raider is now nearly a decade in the making. Northrop Grumman first won a contract for the next-generation bomber in 2015, and the company quickly assembled a national team to build it. The Raider, named after the 80 men who participated in the 1942 Doolittle raid on Tokyo, was developed using the aerospace company's pioneering digital engineering practices and advanced manufacturing techniques. In late 2023, the U.S. Department of Defense approved the B-21's move to low-rate initial production (LRIP), and Northrop Grumman was awarded the Pentagon's LRIP contract in January 2024. The current LRIP phase is on track for 5 lots and will run through the end of the decade. The Air Force has set a goal of acquiring a fleet of at least 100 B-21s, but some analysts have called for that number to be doubled. The Defense Department unveiled its newest bomber, the B-21 Raider, late last night in Palmdale, Calif. The Air Force's first strategic bomber in more than 3 decades, the B-21 will be the backbone of America's bomber force, Defense Secretary Lloyd J. Austin III said. The B-21 Raider is expected to be used in a larger family of systems for conventional long-range strike, including intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance, electronic attack, communications, and other capabilities. The aircraft is nuclear capable and designed to accommodate manned or unmanned operations. In addition, it will be able to use a mix of long-range and direct attack munitions. In a hangar at Northrop Grumman's aircraft factory, the B-21 was unveiled amid dramatic music and lighting effects. The new bomber has a silhouette similar to the B-2 Spirit bomber. Like the B-2 Spirit, the B-21 Raider is a stealth aircraft. It will be difficult for adversaries to see coming, Austin said. 50 years of advances in technology that are not readily observable have gone into this aircraft, he said. Even the most sophisticated air defense systems would have a hard time detecting a B-21 in the sky. Austin also said the B-21 Raider is designed to be easy to maintain, which will help ensure the aircraft is always ready to fly when needed. We don't really have a capability unless we can maintain it, he said. The B-21 is meticulously designed to be the most maintainable bomber ever built. A stealthy bomber with dual penetration capability, the B-21 Raider is capable of delivering both conventional and nuclear munitions. It will be able to support joint and coalition forces across the spectrum of operations, Austin said, and is also designed to be flexible enough to meet an ever-evolving threat environment. The Raider is built on an open systems architecture, which makes it very adaptable, Austin said. As the United States continues to innovate, this bomber will be able to defend our country with new weapons that haven't even been invented yet. And the B-21 is multifunctional. It can handle everything from intelligence collection, to battle management, to integration with our allies and partners. And it will work seamlessly across domains, and theaters, and across the joint force. The B-21 Raider is built by Northrop Grumman and developed through deep partnerships with stakeholders across the U.S. military, Austin said. The B-21 is the result of close teamwork here at the factory, he said. Our Air Force pilots, technicians and DoD civilians have worked hand in hand with their industry counterparts. In fact, they've been on the production line in Palmdale to help. The B-21 is a prime example of America's vibrant and diverse industrial base. This kind of progress is what makes us great, and this kind of progress doesn't just happen. It takes investment. It takes collaboration. And it takes partnership. The Secretary said he and the Defense Department are committed to continuing that kind of collaboration with the defense industrial base to ensure that the best technology America has to offer is available to contribute to the nation's defense. The department will continue to invest in technology, he said. We will bring new companies into our supplier base, and we will continue to refine our acquisition process to get the right capabilities before we need them. Development of the B-21 Raider began in 2015 when the Air Force awarded an engineering and manufacturing development contract. The Air Force hopes to acquire at least 100 aircraft. The B-21 inches designation, according to the Air Force, was chosen because it was the first new bomber of the 21st century, while the Raider name was chosen to represent the Doolittle Raiders, which conducted sorties during World War II. 80 years ago, on a cold, rainy April morning, 4 months after Pearl Harbor, 16 U.S. Army bombers took off from an aircraft carrier in the Pacific, Austin said. That was when Lieutenant Col. Jimmy Doolittle set out on a daring mission. At great cost, he and his team of pilots flew more than 650 miles to strike a distant enemy target. And the Doolittle Raiders, as they became known, demonstrated the power and reach of American air power. Just as the Doolittle Raiders defended America during World War II, the B-21 Raider is expected to do the same now and in the future, Austin said. This is not just another aircraft. This is not just another acquisition, Austin said. This is a demonstration of America's resolve to defend the republic we love. It is a testament to our strategy of deterrence, with the ability to back it up, anytime and anywhere. That's what America does. The U.S. Air Force moved one step closer to modernizing its bomber fleet on Friday, as the Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider successfully conducted its first test flight in Palmdale, CA, where the bomber is currently undergoing testing. The Air Force has previously said it would not give advance notice of when the first flight would occur, but the Raider has been undergoing taxi tests, and there's a chance its maiden flight could happen unexpectedly. That happened with the General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon nearly 50 years ago when it took to the skies during a high-speed taxi test, a key step toward the aircraft's first flight. While the service also didn't publicize the event, about 36 aviation enthusiasts and others gathered around Plant 42 to watch the flying wing bomber take to the skies. The B-21 Raider is undergoing flight testing, Air Force spokeswoman Ann Stefanik confirmed in a statement. The flight test is a critical step in the test campaign managed by the Air Force Test Center and the 412th B-21 Joint Test Force. Less than a year since debut. It's been more than 11 months since the aerospace and defense contractor officially unveiled the B-21 Raider, the first new strategic bomber to be launched in a generation and the first since the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit made its public debut in November 1988. While it may look similar to the B-2, the Raider actually represents a generational leap in aircraft technology and development. The Raider was developed to be the multi-purpose backbone of a modernized bomber fleet, gradually replacing the aging Rockwell B-1 Lancer and B-2 Spirit bombers now in service. A dual-capable stealth attack aircraft, the B-21 will be capable of delivering both conventional and nuclear munitions. 6 prototype aircraft are in various stages of production, and all are being built on the same line, using the same equipment and processes that will be used to build the final production aircraft. This approach allows engineers and production technicians to take lessons learned and apply them directly to the next aircraft, emphasizing a focus on repeatability, manufacturability and quality. In addition to building a bomber with cutting-edge technology and capabilities, Air Force officials have placed a greater emphasis on controlling costs while allowing for maximum flexibility. The B-21 is known for being designed with an open systems architecture that allows for the rapid integration of future capabilities to keep up with a highly competitive threat environment. About 8,000 employees at Northrop Grumman and other defense contractors of all sizes, spread across 40 states, have been quietly building the Air Force's new stealth bomber. Efforts have been made to prevent China and other potential adversaries from gaining access to its technology. Honoring the Doolittle Raiders, Northrop Grumman was awarded the contract to build the next-generation bomber in 2015, and the company quickly assembled a national team to design, test and build the B-21. The Raider, named after the 80 men who participated in the World War II Doolittle Raid on Tokyo in the spring of 1942, was developed using the aerospace company's pioneering digital engineering practices and advanced manufacturing techniques. The Raider is part of a broader effort by the U.S. Department of Defense (DoD) to modernize all 3 pillars of America's nuclear triad, which also includes silo-launched nuclear ballistic missiles and submarine-launched warheads. To that end, the U.S. Air Force plans to buy at least 100 of the aircraft, which, as mentioned, will replace the Lancer and Spirit bombers, while the B-21 Raider will operate alongside the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress for decades to come. Although the bomber is older than the B-1 and B-2, they saw extensive use in post-Cold War conflicts including Afghanistan and Iraq. Northrop Grumman has dubbed the aircraft the first, Sixth generation aircraft because it can easily interface with other aircraft and integrate with future weapons.